Hey, and welcome to this week's Inbound Debate. As always, I'm joined on my left by Dan Holt and on my right by Nick Pateman. And this week, we are answering the question on everyone's lips. Can you cash in your plus ones at the rank bank? That's right. SEO Moz released a report, as we're all aware, which showed an extremely strong correlation between plus ones and ranking, which caused quite a fuss. In fact, Matt Cutts rebutted this in a forum post saying there was absolutely no, plus ones did not cause a positive change in rankings. So I want to kind of talk about Matt Cutts in general, and also do we think that, what do we think about the report? So can we trust Matt Cutts, guys, like what he's saying on the rankings, and do we think that plus ones count for anything when it comes to search engine rankings, Dan?
I mean, in terms of can we trust Matt Cutts, I don't think he would outright lie. I don't think he'd say, something was X if it was definitely Y. But I think everything that he says, even when it kind of seems on the surface fairly concrete, you'll notice he always leaves a bit of wiggle room. He's always a little bit vague. Because ultimately it's his responsibility to ensure that people aren't concentrating on specific signals, they're concentrating on the causes of those signals. So I think, in terms of his general advice, I think you've got to take it with a pretty substantial pinch of salt. In terms of specifically plus ones, in my opinion, I think it probably would make sense for it to be part of the algorithm. But I think there are logical reasons why it might not be. So, for example, it already affects the SERPs, it already affects click-through rates. Maybe they feel that rather than having it impact the actual organic listings themselves, it makes more sense to kind of protect its integrity as a recommendation service. They just don't want to confuse the two things. I think that makes sense.
Nick, what do you think?
Yeah, I think Matt's got some really good advice. Like he will tell you how to mark up your website with particular code to make sure it targets the right language. He's kind of dismissed PageRank as being like a ranking factor, and he said some pretty concrete stuff in the past, which I think has definitely helped the community. But then the moment it starts getting vague and oh Matt, what kind of links are the best links to build? Obviously, first of all, I think there's no definite answer there anyway, but Matt will just completely dodge those questions, which upsets a lot of people. But I think people also give him too much credit for being this all-seeing, all-knowing sort of head of Google, when actually what he looks at, he's a PR guy. He fronts the brand. It's like the Prime Minister, David Cameron, he doesn't know what's happening with every specific detail of the school curriculum in the UK next year. He doesn't know that, just like Matt wouldn't know the specific details of an algorithm.
But he is in charge of the spam team, right?
He is, but the Google's algorithm is so much broader than just identifying spam.
But he's going to know something pretty general, like whether or not plus ones have any impact on that.
Yeah, and he's answered us with no, they don't. And I'm inclined to believe him, but I also think that Matt had no choice in that instance, because the moment he says plus ones have the smallest bearing in rankings, overnight with that comment, he would create a multi-million-pound market for buying plus ones.
He didn't have to comment though, really?
It was true. Well, the thing is, the more vague it is, the more likely people are going to mess up the plus one data. If people think, because Moz released this report saying, I think it was 0.12 correlatory factor with Google plus ones and ranking well, that's going to make people think, right, I need to start buying plus ones, I need to start messing up their social sharing site, but it's not going to lead to anything positive for Google. So I think Matt has to come out here, whether or not they actually use plus ones, and just say no, we don't.
I think from my experience with Matt Cutts, is I agree, he gives some very good specifics. Normally they're specifics which would actually improve Google's search results, like in terms of schema markups, things like that webmasters have to do. So I wouldn't say you shouldn't trust him, but I would say I'd be cautious about overreacting to a certain message that he's providing if there's evidence in the contrary.
Yeah.
Now, Matt Cutts is famous for his 30-day challenges. Essentially what he does is he picks a certain activity for 30 days and does it every day. So do you guys have anything lined up for this month in terms of the 30-day challenge, Dan?
I always try and do them, and this month is no exception. Not terribly exciting, I'm afraid. I've disabled my snooze button for the month. That's about it. But on top of that, I also have the last 8 months worth of 2013 30-day challenges that I have to catch up on because I didn't complete them, so it could be a very busy month.
Brilliant. Have you actually missed any? Have you just slept through it all? Is that
no.
Well?
This month is looking good.
It's already 4 days in.
Yeah, so far so good.
That's going to end badly. I don't have any 30-day challenge. I really like what Matt does, though. I think he'll write a book through a 30-day period by writing something every day, or like recently he did like a 1-second video
Learn
every
instrument as well,
day.
didn't he?
Yeah, and you know, like try to learn Mandarin or something. Like it's something I don't do any of, and I certainly after watching his TED speech, a couple of years ago, I still didn't make any action from it. But at some point I will.
Okay, well, thank you very much, guys. As always, this has been the Inbound Debate, and we'll see you next week. Bye.